And we are back with another episode of Same Page. We're your hosts, Sarah Semajist.
And I'm Lenard Semajist.
Today, what we wanted to talk to you guys about is books. During the past couple of years, we really started diving more into books, more books about elevating your mindset and changing the way you think, and just personal development books that really helped us change our mindset, change our way of thinking, and help us grow, a real estate portfolio, just because we were really able to see that things were more possible. So we'll just really briefly talk about the 5 books that we thought were really helpful in terms of personal development.
Yeah, and one thing that to add on to what Sarah was saying, not only were we exposed to all these books, but also we made it a point to read on a daily basis.
That's right.
Mainly, like for the most part, we try to read at least 10 pages a day, just to kind of keep our mind active and to keep all those thoughts flowing, and also putting in practice whatever we were reading.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. And really, I think on a daily basis, we work. People are aware that they need to work on their physical aspect, so they work out, right? Nutrition, things like that. A spiritual aspect by practicing maybe some prayers and meditation and whatnot. So when we read books, it really feeds your mind, right? So it is a muscle that you need to, continue to develop. I know a lot of people after school, they put away books and no longer read, but it is a really good way to learn some new things, because oftentimes we just have this routine and we don't learn anything new besides from like YouTube or something that, on the news or something like that. So it's really important to read on a daily basis.
And I'm not an avid reader compared to Sarah. Sarah's the type of person that she typically reads something before she goes to bed. I will do that, from time to time, but nothing very consistent. So this was like the first time, once we dove into real estate investing, that I was reading on a regular basis. And also, we were basically going back and forth, sharing books, which we've never done before. And so just kind of getting that appreciation, and then developing that habit to read on a consistent basis was something that was definitely, at least for me, was I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but something that was very impactful for me.
So what is one book that you really enjoyed or that changed your perspective?
So one book that changed my perspective was Relentless by Tim Grove. For those who are not familiar, Tim Grove used to be the exclusive trainer of Michael Jordan while he was playing for the Chicago Bulls. And he also ended up training, obviously, lots of other athletes, including Kobe Bryant. But his main celebrity client was Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan had this very strong personality to the point where Tim Grove became his exclusive trainer. And he brings up a lot of great points in his book. I thought it was a little bit redundant, but at the same time, it was still very impactful. Especially with the main term in the book, the cleaner, the one that really, despite whatever is going on, you can count on this person to just get the job done. Right. And if anything, that's one of the lessons, the main points of that book that he really drove home is that if you want to be at the level, like it is in his book, of a cleaner, you can't make excuses. You really have to go above and beyond your limitations. Yeah, so he really focuses on embracing the process. And that being said, I think it was a really good read, and I'll definitely recommend it.
Okay, awesome.
And yourself, Sarah, give me one of your books that really impact you.
The book that was a game changer for me is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. That book really shows you that if you want to, I don't know if that's the right analogy, but how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Which means if you have lofty goals, you just take one step at a time, or one day at a time. If you want to lose weight, it's 1 pound at a time. If you want to run a marathon, maybe it's a few meters at a time, a few kilometers at a time, and on a consistent basis, on a daily basis. And at that time, it really made me realize that at least if, for example, for working out, instead of diving straight into, a whole hour workout, if there's somebody that hasn't worked out, and going hard at it, is just making it a habit of every day doing something little, something that's just easy to do, but easy not to do.
Yes.
So for example, walking 10 minutes or, doing 5 push-ups and every day adding another one. So it's those little things that you do on a daily basis that really helps you achieve your goals, and not just, one day a week where you're, spending the whole day doing something. It really has to be consistently on a daily basis. So for me, that was a real game changer when it comes to achieving a goal, is just doing a little bit at a time every single day.
Very good.
What's another one for you?
The one for me was actually, I didn't actually read this one. It was recommended by a friend of mine to actually listen to the audiobook, and I'm glad I did, because this person's voice, is very raw and rugged and a little bit offbeat. But it's 10X by Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And that, what I really took from it is that as much as you think you're doing, you can always do more. And then another point that he really drives is that being successful should be your duty, and like you should also aim to dominate whatever industry that you're in. So I definitely recommend that. Not only do you obviously you may want to read the book, but listen to the audio, because just hearing his voice, I guess, adds that little push, that little motivation that only Grant Cardone can do.
Okay, I've listened to it. I'm not done, but it's definitely very powerful.
And another book for you?
A second book for me would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I think a lot of people who are trying to achieve lofty goals and are trying to develop themselves, on that personal development journey, have read that book. And really it comes down to picturing yourself already having the thing that you want. So if it's, the big house, really meditating on that and really associating a feeling to that, that feeling of happiness, and every day really picturing what it looks like, even what it smells like, what it would feel like. And if you can see yourself there, then you can achieve it. And it goes for any goals that you want to achieve. So when it says think, so think about what you want to achieve. So it could be wealth, as much wealth as you want, and grow rich. He really emphasizes the fact that that's really all you have to do. Really picturing yourself and meditating on it on a, daily basis, and you'll get there. Obviously you have to take action too. But first you have to really picture yourself. And I have done that, and it has been successful for me. So I definitely recommend people reading the book and also following through with what he's suggesting.
Exactly, it's a good book, and it also it taps into that whole law of attractions.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
also talking about the conscious and subconscious mind, being able to impress your subconscious mind so your subconscious can express whatever desire that you may have.
Right. And Leonard talked about the laws of attraction. And just to give you an example, have you ever thought of someone and then all of a sudden, or talking about someone and all of a sudden they call you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that often happens. And, we often think it's a coincidence, but I truly believe that, what you think about, what you talk about does happen. So I think it's kind of like putting it out into the universe, and whatever you're talking about becomes a reality. So it's actually very important to speak what you want versus the things you don't want. Even though you say I don't want it, just the fact that you spoke about it, you're attracting that. So it's best to just speak of the things that you do want to achieve.
Yeah.
And the last book.
Yes.
The last book that really had an impact on me is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I've listened to it, so I haven't read it. Just like the Grant Cardone book that you were talking about, 10X. It's sort of like The Slight Edge, but it's just a different approach. It really talks about the fact that everything that you do adds to the effect that you want it to have. So I'll give you a small example. He gives the example of two guys who want to, they don't necessarily want to achieve something, but one guy is on a daily basis, he cuts out mayo from his sandwiches. Another guy on a daily basis, he adds, a tablespoon of sugar to his coffee. And like 5 years later, just that compound effect, one of them is the one who removed the mayo is now slim, and obviously given that you're also eating other healthy things, obviously, but this is just an example that he gave. And the other person had gained X amount of weight, X amount of pounds. So it just really shows that like a little bit every day, no matter how small, can have a compound effect, whether in the right direction or the wrong direction over time. And he gives countless examples about, a push-up a day, for example, or, I'm thinking of a lot of exercises, but it could be in anything, a phone call a day if you're trying to be an investor and build your investors list, things like that. Just make sure that you add on to the things that you do in order to have the big effect in X amount of time.
Exactly. So like, I think in general, like all these books, like one of the main messages that they have in common is to have a certain amount of discipline and to be consistent. Okay. And like that for me was like a resounding theme throughout. And then on top with the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, his main, at least from my perspective, his main message was all about visualization and really not only being able to visualize it, but also attributing the feelings, behind what your goals and aspirations are.
Right. Okay. So those are the books that, change your mindset a lot. I do recommend that you guys read it, whatever goals that you're trying to achieve or feel that you're in, they will change your mindset and help you change for the better.
And if you can't read them, get the audio version. We spend a lot of time driving to and from work or commuting to wherever you may go. And then whether it's 15, half an hour, spend that time listening to a book too, and like instead of listening to the radio, so you can at least absorb that information.
So just recap very quickly. What are the 5 books?
The 5 books. So the first one we talked about was Relentless by Tim Grove.
The Slight Edge by Jeff Holzman.
10X by Grant Cardone.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
And then Compound Effect by
Darren Hardy.
That's right.
All right, so read those books.